Hey y'all, Rob at Z Motorsports. Hey, if you've ever had a problem getting your car inspected because of extra lights on in your dash due to a bad sensor or something like that, I'm going to show you a little a quick workaround. Now, this is not saying to do this permanently. You definitely need to fix all your sensors and whatnot, but an example would be the passenger seat. There's a weight sensor in it that turns the airbag on and off if you've got a child in there versus an adult. Well, if that sensor gets out of calibration, it automatically just disables the airbag. Well, that's a safety feature. Some inspection stations will not pass it if that light is on all the time. So here's a little quickie on how to get into the backside of the dash and do a temporary workaround. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the dash. So first thing you want to do is drop your steering wheel all the way down, and then there's a little rubber piece back here. Lift that rubber piece up, and there are two Phillips screws, one there, one on the other side. So pull those screws out. I'll pause this and we'll be back in a second. All right, once you've got those screws out, the only thing holding that dash in is a couple of clips. So grab it on either side and start pulling towards you. Once it comes loose, kind of roll it up towards the top of the car, and there's one connector on the back side. Take that connector loose. And that's all it takes to pull this out. So we'll move into the shop and take this apart and show you how to cover up some plugs. Okay, to do this entire process, here's what you need. Basically just a clean work area, so you don't lose any pieces and scratch up your dash. Phillips screwdriver, a small flat tip. You'll need some black electrical tape, or you can use colored, but black will work a little better. Something to cut the tape with so that you get a nice clean edge, so like scissors. And then this is just a little panel popper. It's works out real good for getting in small places and popping stuff loose without scratching. But when we get to that, you can use a screwdriver or other things, but you'll see where that's actually used at. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the dash face down. Isn't that magic hands just came in? And then there are three Phillips screws, here, here, and here. Take those three screws out. Okay, once you've got those screws out, which are right there, what you're going to do is you're going to take this back cover off, which is basically everything from here backwards. There's some little white tabs there, here, 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 and here. You're going to push them in and just work that whole thing up just to lift this entire back cover off. Okay, so we'll get that done and see you in a minute. Okay, to make it easy on y'all, I mean, you can take this all apart at one time, but since this is y'all's first, we'll just do it the quick and easy way. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take this front gray section off. There's just four little releases. One here, well, we already kind of had it loose, but you can see where these releases are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Just kind of lift them up and work this section off. Okay. The next section is this clear plexiglass. Of course, they're going to be little clear plastic connectors around. Now, the ones that tend to break the most, I found, are these plexiglass ones. Matter of fact, when we took this dash apart the first time, one of them fell out. Don't worry about that. That just happens. Just age. It gets old and brittle. So take all them loose, and that'll lift that section out. That takes a couple of hands, so I'll pause this and work from there. Okay, all right, we're getting closer here. Last piece is the shroud. There's the black tabs. There's 4 or 5 of them. This one actually has a couple of white ones here and here, so don't forget those, and just lift this piece off. Now, as you're lifting these covers off on the front, be careful of your dimmer and a reset button for your odometer. Be sure and lift everything straight up so you don't bend and mess that up. So let's get that piece off. Okay, now we're kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty here. This is just about where we want to be. So in this instance, what we're working on is a seatbelt light for the passenger side. It's a seat, looks like someone's sitting in a seat, a slash through them, and then it's got like a little airbag symbol in front. And that's actually located right up underneath the M and the RPM. So we need to get this cover off. To get that off, we have to pull the dial off. Well, to pull the dial off, they just lift up. They're press fit on. You'll want to note where this thing is stopped at. Okay, it's stopped right on the 0. If you kind of push it down, it's all the way at the end of the stop. Okay, but if you push on it a little bit, you can actually push it past. Okay, but where you want it, just take it around, and you can actually re-zero it back up. But when you put everything back together with this around seated, it should be right at 0. So that's one thing you'll pay attention to when you put it back together, so that your tach is reading correctly. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use this little pry bar. You can use a screwdriver, but the pry bar is actually a little easier because it spreads it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in underneath and we're going to pry this up. Now it may have some tension on it because I don't know if they put glue on there or what, but the first time they come off relatively stiff. So I'm going to pull mine off and then I'll be right back. Okay, that one came off. You see there's a little plastic piece there and there's a little metal shaft. I don't think the camera will pick it up, that this is setting on. So when you're taking it off, don't rock it back and forth. You want to come straight up. If you're using a screwdriver, just kind of work it both ways until it comes up, okay? Because if you break that, then all of a sudden everything's going to be crooked in your dash and it may not work properly. Now, I'm not sure if the camera will pick this up, but there's a little black ring right around here. That black ring is holding this face on. So that black ring has, and you can kind of see it right there, a couple of little locking tabs. So what you need to do is, what I do is I just take a long small screwdriver and I'll go underneath this faceplate and where I can get in there and lift that out. You can also use like a pair of needle nose and grab it and pull up, but you're just popping that piece out and loose. And once you got that out, then this cover lift off. So we'll get that off and be right back. Alright, we got that little ring out of there. So now just lift this faceplate off. Amazing the stuff I've learned to do with just one hand looking through a camera. Alright, now if you hold that up to light, you can see this is the piece we want to cover up. See, if I put my finger over it, light doesn't come through it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece of tape and put it on the back side so that doesn't show up. Where's my stop button? Alright, well, we got the tape on. And hold this up to the light. See, you can no longer see that. If y'all don't have black electrical tape, let me know. I can sell you a piece to cover that for $9.95 plus $5 shipping. Just kidding. So anyways, now what we're going to do is put everything back together in reverse order, and then we'll go get the car inspected, and then down the road we can go ahead and get that fixed from the dealer, because this is only a temporary fix. But all of your lights are just like that. If you need to temporarily cover one of those lights, you can't do that. Okay, like if you don't want your tire pressure sensor light, if for some reason one of your sensors is bad, but you know you've got the proper tire pressure, and it won't pass inspection with that, you can cover that light up temporarily until you get these things fixed. So we'll put it back together in reverse order. Of course, we'll clean everything since while we've got it apart. But hope that helps y'all. You have a great day.